What do you need to know about working with offshore developers? So, you're a temporary client, okay? As I said, you haven't got the guarantee that the developer's going to be around, and they're looking at the next big thing, and they'll drop you like a hot cake if something comes along that's better than your project. Good developers have day jobs, so the idea of finding, when I changed tack probably about 4 years ago and thought, I don't want to look at subcontinent developers, I'm actually going to go local, because I think the language transition problems that I had in terms of interpreting the project, I want to speak to someone. So I switched my attention to New Zealand and US, and that's what I found. I found that, yeah, I can find good developers there, but it's the nighttime job. So when times got busy at their day job, your project slowed or stopped for a while. So there is no testing. You will be the tester as well. So you will often get code that's crap. It doesn't work. What do you mean? You deployed it and you didn't look at it. They will put all the testing on you. So when you actually get the product, you just constantly think, he's not even looking at it. It works on his system, on his local site, and then he just pushes the button and says, oh yeah, it's ready for you to look at. He didn't even look at the site on the live site or the staging site, which you're looking at, and doesn't even work. So just be wary, that's happened many, many times, and it's so frustrating. They don't necessarily focus on ideas. The likes of Alliance spends a lot of time thinking, how could your business be better? Like what could we do to make the experience better and help grow your business? Have you thought of this? We have a lot of touch points with various businesses, so we've got a lot of experience in development, and think about ways in which something can be achieved through development that makes actually your business idea better. You don't get that with overseas developers, because it's basically you're constantly telling them what to do, and that's a one-way channel. There's never feedback or any ideas coming back at you how to develop a better product. There's language gaps. If you like typing, which I'm very slow at, then you will spend a lot of time typing through Skype messages on how to develop the thing. You rarely get the opportunity to talk face-to-face or even via video hookup, because they can't pick up the language or can't pick up our twang as an Australian quick enough to understand what we're actually talking about. Obviously, you've got a lot of skills which you'll be applying, and time from you to make the project happen. Let's look at some numbers just to compare what the overseas development looks like compared to a domestic. So I've picked a common project where Alliance may quote it for $83,000. An overseas quote might come in at $22,000. What you find with overseas development is they're very quick to want to secure the job and get going. So they'll put a price there, but they won't have investigated to enough detail actually what the scope actually is. So there'll be parts missed. So that missed spec is basically them not investigating far enough into the project to understand the full scope of it. So the net result is you might say that they've missed $4,000 worth of their scope, whereas domestically there's still a little bit of scope that was missed at the start, but it's nowhere near the same. If you then look at the time that you're going to spend as the project manager, as doing the BA, doing some wireframing, and you're testing, and if it's at $40 an hour that you're valuing your hourly rate, and most of these aspects are going to take you roughly 160 odd hours, it's going to equate to nearly $20,000 of your time in the project. So if you put that side by side, now you're closing the gap to say it's roughly a $46,000 project versus an $84,000 project done here in Australia. If we then say that we've got a late delivery, it's 40% longer to actually deliver the project. Any software development is either going to try to do one of two things: make you more efficient as a company, so look for savings, or generate profit. So you've actually build something that someone wants to buy. I've taken a conservative, if you're going to make $4,000 a week from the release of your product, it's going to generate $4,000 a week, then you're actually looking at the delayed cost roughly equating to $28,000 because of the late delivery. Because in this particular case, the $83,000 is basically 17 and a half weeks work in a local developer, and the overseas delayed delivery time is basically 7 weeks later. So you're equating now to $28,000 of missed revenue because it's delivered later. So now you're up to comparing a $74,000 project to an $84,000 project. So the client time. Every project's going to require you as the client have input into the project, and you need to be considerate of that. And once again, the time, just purely typing versus talking, and all the other aspects around communicating with the overseas developer is going to potentially be 120 hours versus 70 hours for a local developer. Once again, there's about $2,000 difference there, small saving. But if you actually look at this figure, the amount of time here spent on the project of 622 hours or 25 hours a week to get this thing delivered through an overseas channel versus 70 hours or 4 hours a week for a local developer, you virtually close the cost. And then without considering things like risk and not necessarily owning the IP, because some of the development that I've done in the past with overseas, I have no control of whether the developer's going to use it or have any security against their laws in terms of the developments being done there. So if you look at numbers like that, it just basically closes it, and so look at the true value of your time. I mean, I don't value my time at $40 an hour anymore. So if you have that, then yeah, it's something to consider.